Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhaled frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, you know, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Hey, good day, tokers and tokettes and non-token lovers of liberty. Welcome to Hour 2, where it's 2 minutes after 4 here in the Pacific Time Zone. We're having ourselves a good hump day. Happy Wednesday to all of you out there. We got Big Island Zane sitting in with us today. How you doing, Zane? Oh, I got to unmute you. There you are. Hey, there he is.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good, eh?
Breaking down some lemons going.
Right on. We'll get to that, but we're getting something coming in here on the flux capacitor, so bear with us just a moment.
Stupid Prohibition Story.
As a public service, the Russ Belville Show reminds you that smoking marijuana does not make one stupid. However, some stupid people do smoke marijuana, and prohibition is always waiting for another victim. Learn your lesson from today's Stupid Prohibition Stories.
With your Stupid Prohibition Stories, I'm old-timey 1920s radio reporter Freddie Farrock. This just in from Tampa Bay Online. 2 Clearwater, Florida men who had a marijuana plant sticking out of their car window were arrested by detectives, police said. Detectives who didn't have to do much work, I might add. The men were in a 2008 Pontiac G6 during the early morning of July 24th. Police called the vehicle suspicious. It had dark tinted windows and the headlights were off, police said. Inside were the driver, 19-year-old Alan Thomas Barnes, and a front seat passenger, 20-year-old Justin J. Goodlow, police said. Protruding from the left rear window was a green leafy marijuana plant, police said, and inside police found several other marijuana. Tampa Bay Online, what are you smoking? According to police, Goodlow said he and Barnes stole the pot from an acquaintance who owed him $100 for drugs. I'm Freddie Farrock with your stupid Prohibition Stories! Okay. All right, let's first of all, let me show you the picture. They have dash cam footage of this. You're not going to believe it. Hold on to your hats, people. Let me get the video window up here. For those of you listening on the podcast or the replay with audio only, it's a nice picture, kind of blurry actually, of a dark tinted car with about, 8-inch diameter worth of pot sticking out of it. and it's like, it looks as if they had, I don't know if they had just accidentally left a window open, if the window had been closed, they rolled it down some point and it stuck out. I don't know, but this is one of those cases where detectives, really didn't have to work that hard. That's a pot plant sticking out of the guy's window, for God's sake. Oh, shit. And the other part of this, Zane, that really gets me, is he says that they had just gone to their buddy's house and stole the plant from him because he owed him $100 for weed. Dude, you can live with the IOU.
Right.
Felony time in Florida, because that plant's a felony. These guys are going to do felony time. Is a little tougher to deal with. Folks, if you're going to be transporting your weed, you got to do a little better job than that. And speaking of tinted windows, got a call today from our own left-wing Larry. He's on his way back from Indiana. He has de-tinted his windows. Finally learned the lesson. No tinted windows in red states, especially with Oregon plates on. So, so he's de-tinted his windows. He's making his way back here to Rolla J Studios. He'll be here for about a month or so, and then he's going to move his way back to Colorado to be there with his other son and his new grandkids. So, good on you, Larry. We'll see you soon. And an unfortunate news here from Rolla J Studios. While Larry was gone, rippers snuck into our garage, clipped the 3 mature plants at the base, and stole them. Boo on rippers.
Oh, no.
Boo. Now, you know, last year they stole the 4 plants right out of our backyard. Right? They had to climb a fence and get in the backyard to do it. This year, they had to go they'd either go, well, I don't think they could have gone in the back door. The back door was locked. So they had to go through the front garage door and into another door in the garage to get it where the plants were. Thank God they didn't steal the Lush LED lights.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
That was the first thing I asked you.
Like,
I mean,
shit.
The lights were still there. I'm surprised.
Lights were still there. So,
I mean,
now, to be fair, the garage door was unlocked. You know, Larry's got a padlock on it, but it wasn't locked. And, you know, that sucks. But we got Roscoe here in the studio. Roscoe, the official dog of 420 Radio. He's here, and so he will keep an eye on the premises.
Yes, Roscoe.
Keep us all safe. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to give you a bonus radical rant on the drug testing of 5th graders. You heard me. 5th graders. Stick around. We'll be right back.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel?
The Russ Belville Show reminds you to never smoke and drive impaired. Hang out for a while. Share. .420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana.
Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz thinks it's okay for medical marijuana patients to go to federal prison. On May 30th, she voted against an amendment that would respect Florida's new laws and protect Florida's patients. Even though 88% of Florida voters support medical marijuana, why would Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz vote to send patients like this to prison? Is Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz out of touch with Florida?
420radio.org is proud to replay Stony Sundays with Coral Reefer from San Francisco, California. Cannabis patient and activist Coral Reefer is one of the most popular marijuana personalities on YouTube. Her Stony Sundays and News Nugs entertain and educate the audience. Catch the replays on Monday at 1 Pacific here on...
I don't use marijuana, but as a teacher of 36 years, I can tell you lots of other people use it. I don't believe in prohibition. I don't think it works. Prohibiting it hasn't stopped anybody from getting a hold of it. I would like to see it regulated so that maybe kids can't get a hold of it so easily. I know they get a hold of it now very easily. I support a new approach to marijuana. I support legalizing it. It's with us. It's not going to go away. And if we can get money through the taxation, we can also educate our kids about it. That's why I support it.
It's time for a new approach on marijuana. NewApproachOregon.com.
I got that good vibration. I got that good vibration. Yeah. I got that good vibration. I got that good vibration.
There you go, Big Island Zane. That's some music from The Green. out of the 808. In fact, you can follow them at The Green 808 on Twitter, and I think their website's thegreen808.com.
Yeah, I've been to some live shows.
What's that?
I've been to some live shows. The Green here in Portland, yeah.
Right on, man. You probably were bumping elbows with Kaliko, our last intern from Hawaii.
Probably.
I don't know if Kaliko's from Hawaii. Anyway, there are some. His name's Hawaiian. That's a Kaliko. That's
Wiz Kaliko, yeah.
Wiz Kaliko somewhere out there. All right, hey, like I promised, more ranty goodness.
You can't handle the truth.
Entirely legitimate topic for debate.
You have offended my family.
Hey, this is great, man.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
I know nothing. I support a change in law to end federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
We don't need no stinking budget.
Homosexuality, immorality generally.
How in the century you have slurred the meaning of the words we, the people.
Be warned, this is not your mother's marijuana.
You could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
All right, for today's bonus rant, as I was preparing the news today, I happened upon this story in my drug testing feed on Google News. Let me just read you the story. That'll get me mad enough to rant on it. This comes from Fox59.com. That's a Indiana Fox affiliate. Parents of 5th and 6th graders offered free drug testing kits. Dearborn County, Indiana. Notebooks? Check. Folders? Check. Backpacks? Check. Drug testing kit? Check. One Indiana middle school is prepping parents and students for the first day of classes with a new and rather unusual school supply. According to Fox 19, parents of Dunman Dearborn Intermediate School students were offered to take home drug tests as part of the school's open house on Monday. Joe Kaiser, Chief Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for Dearborn and Ohio counties, who deals with juvenile-related drug abuse cases, said, quote, "It gives parents the opportunity to hold their children accountable, but it also gives the kids a way to say, I can't do this because I'm going to get caught," end quote. Fox 19 spoke with one parent who said, quote, "It's kind of scary that my children might be doing stuff like that, but I guess better safe than sorry. I think it's a good idea," said Don Burke. Another parent told Fox 19 that parents should be the ones to set an example to their children, and that alone should be enough to keep kids drug-free. And from the Fox 19 story, another parent, Teresa Schuler, said, and her family are involved in their church, sport, and other activities with their kids. They declined to take one of the tests, relying on their parenting to keep their kids drug-free. This is the second year these drug testing kits were handed out to parents at Sunman Dearborn Intermediate School. It's an initiative called Protect Your Family and is put on by the school's parent-teacher organization and funded by Citizens Against Substance Abuse, or CASA. Parents of children at Sunman Dearborn Middle School will get a chance to get one of the kits tonight at the school's open house from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And what is it? We're not quite. Oh, we're past 7 Eastern. So is Indiana Central or Eastern? I think it's Eastern. Anyway, guess you missed it. Other information from the Fox 19 report. Linda Hutchinson of the Bright Christian Church said, quote, "Research tells us by age 13 and 14, they've already been approached about drugs. We've got to get them before they're approached, before it's cool." But these students are younger than that. They're just 10 to 12 years old, headed to the 5th and 6th grade. Hutchinson said, quote, "We have got to think differently. We've got to think outside the box. The things we've been doing, they're not working." Okay, so we're going to test 10-year-olds for drugs, 5th and 6th graders for drugs. Now, that's not the part of the story, believe it or not, is not the part of the story that made me raise this to rant level. I mean, I've ranted on, drug testing kids a million times. We've talked about the schoolgirl in Pennsylvania, 11 years old, being drug tested because she wants to play viola in the school orchestra. So we got to test her for drugs. Got to get a cup of her pee, right? And how insane this is. And how really it's more about exercising a tyrannical control over people and getting them at a young age to accept that this blatant violation of their Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights is somehow normal, somehow acceptable. So this is the part that got me to rant level. In the Fox 59 story, at the end of the story, they have one of those polls that they have on these news websites. And the poll has two options. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get the poll question would help, right? Poll question. Should drug testing be done on 5th and 6th graders? Your choices are yes, I don't think that's too early to start. And no, that's way too young. There's no choice on the poll for, hey, it's kind of fucked up to be doing drug testing on our students in the first place. No poll option for that. It's either, yeah, it's okay to test them at age 10, or no, we ought to wait till age 13. That's your options. No even second thought even given to the idea that, wait a minute, maybe drug testing itself sucks. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that whatsoever. Now, as far as the results on the poll, 58% say that it's too early to drug test kids, and 41% said it's way too young. So 58% agree that we ought to be drug testing 5th graders. 41% say that's too young. Now, I'm no expert on kids. I don't have any. So I always give that disclaimer when I talk about these subjects. But since I don't have any kids, I thought I would consult with experts on children and their health. Like the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is against drug testing of kids, not just in school, but at home as well. They say there's more damage to be done in the trust between an authority figure and a child by drug testing them than any possible benefit you're going to get out of drug testing them. There's also evidence to suggest that drug testing these kids exposes them to drugs more likely than not drug testing them. It gives them the idea that drugs are out there and a false belief that everybody's doing it. And really, it's just sick, isn't it? If there was a man in your neighborhood going around trying to collect cups of pee from little kids, wouldn't you think that's something you ought to call the cops about? But we want to set that up as something regular, something that's a rite of passage, like taking the Iowa test. They still do the Iowa test in 6th grade? I don't know. But like taking the Iowa test or taking your SATs, you gotta pee in a cup. That's just what it means to be an American. That's just what it means if you don't want to be in the dregs of society. If you want to join the educated and the employed, then you have to give us a cup of your pee. We need your pee. People that won't give us their pee, well, they get to have the secondhand jobs. They get to have the service industry jobs. They don't get college scholarships. They get to be treated as our second-class caste. Like we've always done in America. This country was founded by an entire system that subjugated, enslaved, and killed an entire continent worth of people. There's always been a two-tier system in this country. We've just found different ways of engineering it. And lately, the way we've engineered it is through these punitive drug laws that deny full citizenship to the people who choose the unpopular, non-state sanctioned drugs, the drugs that they can grow themselves in their house and not have to pay anybody any tax on. The drug that can replace 90% of what's in their medicine cabinet. Those folks, they need to be denied full citizenship. They need to be denied the American dream. They need to be locked up and caged and their children monitored for their bodily fluids if they want to play viola or join the chess club or be in the honor society. I don't know about you, that's not the kind of America I want to live in, and thank God we've got 2 states that have rebelled against it and 3 more jurisdictions, 2 states in Washington, D.C. They're going to strike the second blows against adult marijuana prohibition, and we can return to our hemp heritage and have our full 9th Amendment rights back. All right, stick around. We'll be back with some Daily Toker Tunes, Irie Wednesday with Gordon Green, coming up next.
420 Radio, the activist radio station.
What the authorities should do is decriminalize pot use. You want to do it in your house, not bother anyone? Fine. Go outside with a joint or a pipe, you pay a fine.
Join us for the International Cannabis Business Conference September 13th and 14th in the Portland Ballroom at the Oregon Convention Center. The International Cannabis Business Conference will focus on the emerging cannabis industry in Oregon, the United States, and around the world, putting you in front of the industry's foremost entrepreneurs, political leaders, and attorneys. Also showcasing over 40 cannabis-related industry exhibitors, offering VIP lunches and free nightly networking events. Prepare yourself for America's next great industry.
NORMAL stands for Responsible Adult Cannabis Use. If cannabis use is causing problems in your life, consider taking a break or seeking medical assistance. Consider ceasing cannabis use if you have a family history of mental illness. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery while impaired by cannabis use. Cannabis use is not without risks, even though the risks are far less than those posed by legal drugs. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio. Are you a hypocrite? If you live a closeted cannabis lifestyle, you are. Read about 7 people living a closeted cannabis lifestyle who are on the verge of coming out in The Hypocrites by Mara K. Eaton. Available at areyouahypocrite.net. You can purchase the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, also available on iTunes. Check out Mara K. Eaton on Facebook as well. Learn more at areyouahypocrite.net.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, welcome back, everybody. 23 and a half after the hour, and joining us by telephone, we have our traveling troubadour, Gordon Green, on the line. How you doing, Gordon?
Hey, Russ, man. I'm doing really good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. Where are you calling from today?
Hey, man, I'm just almost across the river from you. I'm in Vancouver, Washington today.
Hey, Vancouver's all right. Weed's legal there, and we got some good friends now at the Main Street Marijuana. I encourage you all to check them out. Are you enjoying it?
Well, I've been here 24 hours visiting my folks, and so, you know, it's always good to go home and have Mom take care of you for a while.
Yeah, that is really nice. Now, I understand that you're going to be traveling all around this great land coming up soon. Where are you headed?
Going to go to Edmonton, Alberta for a week, take care of some business there, and then I'm going to be in Denver, Colorado for 2 months, meeting some old friends and checking out some new opportunities. And after that, who knows? But I'm always looking for good music along the way.
All right, looking forward to that. And, of course, tonight at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific and 8 o'clock p.m., we've got Gordon Green's Music Planet. I really enjoyed last week's episode. And what do we have on tap tonight?
Today's the first show of the month, so it's the monthly intro to World Music Jukebox. It's just a mix of great tunes from around the world, Going to have some music from Colombia today, from Canada, from Ethiopia. Going to be playing today's Toker tune, which is from Chilean artist and activist Ana Tijoux, with a song that it's resurfacing right now because of the immigration problem and the children being deported. And she's been on a couple of shows recently promoting a new album, as well as the immigrants' rights, which she's a big activist for. And she was on Democracy Now!, did a really nice acoustic set. If you're familiar with that show, if you're not, you should check it out. But it's going to be another good episode of Gordon Green's Music Planet, on for a full hour again, and that's just great.
All right. Looking forward to it. 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Pacific time, Gordon Green's Music Planet, with replays on the weekend. Check our listings at 420radio.org/schedule for the times listed in your time zone. This is Ana Tijoux with Shock.
Peace out, Russ.
Thanks, Gordon. Slow to play, but it will load up. Sometimes the videos do this. Here we go. Some video for you. Ana Tijoux with Shock. Thousands of young people have been demanding their government provide free jobs. In the process, they have awakened an entire country. Hunger strikes and work stoppages have marked this year, a year that's been so full of creativity of a generation that dares to... I can't possibly read it.
Check out the video.
Venenos tus monólogos, tus discursos incoloros. No ves que no estamos solos, millones de polo a polo. Al son de un solo coro marcharemos con el tono, con la convicción que basta de robo. Tu estado de control, tu trono podrido de oro, tu política y tu riqueza y tu tesoro. No, la hora sonó, la hora sonó. No permitiremos más tu doctrina del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó. No países, solo corporaciones. ¿Quién tiene más acciones? Trozos gordos, poderosos, decisiones por muy pocos. Constitución pinochetista, derecho pues de hilo fascista, golpista disfrazado de un indulto elitista. Cae la gota, cae la bolsa, la toma, se toma la máquina, rota la calle, no calle, la calle se raya, la calle no calle, debate que está y ya todo lo quitan, todo lo venden, todo se lucra, la vida, la muerte, todo es negocio, bajo tu toldo, semilla, pascuala, método seguro. Venenos tus monólogos, tus discursos incoloros. No ves que no estamos solos, millones de polo a polo. Al son de un solo coro marcharemos con el tono, con la convicción que basta de robo. Tu estado de control, tu trono podrido de oro, tu política y tu riqueza y tu tesoro. No, la hora sonó, la hora sonó. No permitiremos más tu doctrina del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó.
Queremos erradicar que la educación sea un negocio, que la educación pase a ser un derecho social.
Este movimiento social ya cada día es más grande.
No solo es algo de movilizarse, salir a las calles a protestar, sino también de crear compromiso y conciencia entre todos los compañeros que participan.
Golpe a golpe, verso a verso, con las ganas y el aliento, con cenizas, con el fuego del presente, con recuerdo, con certeza y con desgarro, con el objetivo claro, con memoria y con la historia, el futuro es ahora. Todo este tubo de ensayo, todo este laboratorio que a diario, todo este fallo, todo este económico modelo condenado de dinosaurio, todo se criminaliza, todo se justifica en la noticia, todo se quita, todo se pisa, todo se ficha y clasifica. Pero tu política y tu táctica, tu típica risa y ética, tu comunicado manipulado, ¿cuántos fueron los callados? Pago guanacos y lumas, pago guanacos y tunas, pago guanacos no suman, ¿cuántos fueron los que se robaron las fortunas? Venenos tus monólogos, tus discursos incoloros. No ves que no estamos solos, millones de polo a polo. Al son de un solo coro marcharemos con el tono, con la convicción que basta de robo. Tu estado de control, tu trono podrido de oro, tu política y tu riqueza y tu tesoro. No, la hora sonó, la hora sonó. No permitiremos más tu doctrina del shock. La hora sonó, la hora sonó. La hora sonó, la hora sonó. La hora sonó, la hora sonó. La hora sonó, la hora sonó.
420 Radio, the home of marijuana experts. The International Cannabis Business Conference takes place September 13th and 14th at the Portland Ballroom in the Oregon Convention Center in Portland, Oregon. Featured speakers include Oregon Senator Floyd Przansky, U.S. Congressman Earl Blumenauer, Daily Dish blogger Andrew Sullivan, author Doug Fine, and Harborside CEO Steve D'Angelo. To learn more, visit our website at internationalcbc.com. The Marijuana Business Association, or MJBA, are proud sponsors of the Russ Belville Show. It is the mission of the MJBA to establish integrity and legitimacy, create common market standards, provide market intelligence, and develop best ethical business practices for participants in the emerging legal marijuana industry, including commercial hemp, medical marijuana, and recreational marijuana for adults. Learn more about the Marijuana Business Association and visit mjba.net to join today. That's mjba.net. 420radio.org presents the new Viper Hour with Radical Russ Belville from Portland, Oregon. Take a trip back in time to the early 20th century origins of 420 culture with the reefer jazz of greats like Cab Calloway and Louis Armstrong, as well as movie nights featuring anti-drug propaganda like Reefer Madness. Live Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific with replays at 5 and 8 Pacific every Monday on 420radio.org. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter.
Welcome back, everybody. 33 and a half after the hour. Radical Russ here with Big Island Zane in the studios, Rolla J Studios, where we're having a nice hot August day again. Pretty nice out, actually. And if you're watching on the video screen, you may notice I've got some new bright colored tight clothing on. And yeah, I went nuts at Kohl's yesterday. They have a 70% off rack on the activewear. And it's because everything I've got is XL shirts and 42-inch shorts, right, to work out in, and they're just too big. I've lost enough weight now that they're too big on me. So that's good news. I'm very happy about that, but it means I had nothing to wear to the gym. So I rode the bike up to the Kohl's yesterday and got some new activewear that's pretty nice. But now I'm going to have some sort of yard sale for all my XL shirts, I guess. I got a ton of marijuana-related XL shirts.
What's your secret? How'd you slim down?
Well, the people ask what kind of diet I'm on. I'm on the eat less and exercise diet. Nice. It's a pretty simple one.
Are you on the Portland bike mission?
Somewhat. Part of it is I bought a bike.
Nice.
I don't have a car. I haven't owned a car in 3 years, and so I got a bike, and I just about bike everywhere. But also, I joined a gym and have been pushing around heavy plates of iron in various directions, in combinations. Okay. The gym has this program called Active Tracks where it just tells you what to do. It's like, go over to machine 3, put on 40 pounds, push it 20 times. Oh, okay. And even if you don't know what the hell that machine does, it's got like play video and it shows you this little cartoon of a guy
Okay.
doing the things. Like, oh, that's what that means. Okay. Like
Yeah,
I can never remember which one is adductor and which one's abductor. It's the ones where you're doing the Suzanne Summers Thigh Master thing, right? But one of them's pushing out, one of them's pushing in. I can never remember which one. But yeah, I just been doing that, trying to get about 1,000 calories of exercise a day. So I get about 350 biking and about 350 walking and about 350 working out. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is I just started writing down everything I ate. I didn't change a damn thing. I didn't change. Well, I have changed.
Recording it.
I've been recording it, right?
Okay.
So I started recording what I ate, and I found that like on a typical day, I was eating about 4,000 calories. It's like, holy hell, how am I eating that much? But you know, you eat a 12-inch Subway with cheese, right? You have a regular Coke, and then you have a bag of chips with salsa, and then you have some candy bars, and then you have, it added up really quick, right?
Yep.
So, like, I started tracking it, and I said, all right, well, if I cut my calories in about 60%, that ought to do something. So I dropped it to 2,200, and so I eat the same kind of things, but then I've found other alternatives that are better. Like, instead of like M&Ms or gummy bears, raspberries.
Okay.
Now, it's expensive. It's like $2.50 for a thing of raspberries, those fresh raspberries.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, after 2 candy bars is $2.50.
Yeah.
Right? So I've been eating raspberries and like these Quaker popped rice cakes. Let me show you these things. These people should sponsor me. They should sponsor me, damn it. Quaker popped rice cakes. These are the bomb, right? They got them in chocolate, kettle corn, sour cream and onion, cheese. They're crunchy. You have to learn how to eat them the right way, though, because these rice cakes, if you eat them the wrong way, they tear the hell out of the inside of your mouth, right?
They're pretty dry, right?
They're tasty, and a whole bag is like 330 calories, right? Now, you know, a small bag of those chips that you get like at a Subway, those are 330 calories as well, right?
Right.
The difference is this thing's big, and you get to eat a lot of it, right? It feels like you're eating more. So it's little things like that. I've been doing the Jared diet. I walk to that Subway every day and I get a 6-inch, whatever their 6-inch special is, which is usually like the turkey breast or the ham or something like that. So yeah, I guess John Thomas in the chat room saying mindful eating. That's it. I'd never really paid attention to what I was eating before. And once I started going, well, you know, instead of having a candy bar, why don't I have raspberries? Instead of having a Coke, why don't I have a diet lemonade? Instead of having the chips, why don't I have some of these popped rice cakes? Instead of having the fast food, like down by the gym, we have, if you don't know about Portland, right? We have all these food carts. You have these, like, they'll take out like a city lot and have 17 food carts at a lot, right? So there's this food cart lot that's right by my gym, and one of the carts is a Vietnamese cart because Portland.
Right. I mean, there's a really good Vietnamese place right next to your house.
Oh, yeah. There's one right next to my house, too, right? And I get the same thing at both of them, those salad rolls with the shrimp salad rolls with peanut sauce. Not bad on the calories. Pretty good stuff, right? So anyway, that's the long story. If people were wondering what was going on as far as all that goes, just been working out and dieting, partly because I really am looking forward to this marijuana legalization and a big boost in profile for 420 radio, for the Russ Belville show, and everything that we're doing. So want to look good for TV. It's vanity, folks. It's just vanity. At least I'm honest. All right, let me get to the story I wanted to cover before I got into personal land here. From the New York Times. Now, you know, the New York Times did this week-long series of editorials on marijuana legalization, you know, saying it should be done nationally, right? So over the last 10 days, the editorial board at the New York Times have been collecting comments. Now, on the comments, in the comments section, they had a cool little part where as you were adding your comment, you could put what position you were in, right? Whether you're for legalization, whether you're against legalization, or whether you're unsure of legalization. So, this to me is a little more significant than just the Click It online poll, right? With the Click It online poll, it's like, yes, no, unsure, click, I'm done. But with this, you were actually adding a comment. So you had to log in, you had to be ID verified through Facebook, right? Or whatever open ID source they're using. I don't know what. Whatever, but you're, an identifiable person, not just a random click, right? And out of the 15, and also Also, the fact that you had to leave a comment, right? So it's a little more thoughtfulness going into it, right? So out of the 15,000 comments they've got as of Tuesday, out of 15,000, 12,658 for. 12.6 thousand. And then 982 against and 254 unsure. And they also point out that not everyone chose a category, so it doesn't add up to 1,500. But I'm saying out of 15,000 comments, they got less than 1,000 comments against it. Less than 1 out of 15 people who bothered to log in and offer an opinion on it were against it. Now, there's some really good comments in here, and I want to share some of the voice of the marijuana nation here as reflected in the New York Times. Mark Hanna of Virginia summed up the consensus view. Quote, "Like many wars, the war on drugs has caused too much carnage. Let's responsibly legalize marijuana." End quote. Kyle of Oklahoma made the same point in more detail. Quote, "No matter how bad you think marijuana is for kids, teens, or adults, the fact is that arrest, incarceration, and the ruin they bring is worse. The question is not whether or not marijuana is okay. It is how to effectively deal with it. Illegality and moral censure are and should remain separate tools. I think many people are worried about losing control of their kids, but I don't think a single one of them wants to see their kids locked up." End quote. And Justine, a nurse in Portland, Oregon, wrote from personal experience, quote, "I have yet to see one patient come through our doors suffering the long-term consequence of pot use. Not one. Alcohol? I can't even begin to count. And when they do, it is very ugly. Patients in the ER because someone smoked a couple of joints and got violent? Not so much." End quote. So some of the stuff that we say day after day here on the Russ Belville Show being reflected by people all across the nation and being recited by the most respected paper in the nation, the New York Times. It's so refreshing after 10 years that stuff that I've been saying that even before I moved to Oregon and got called radical for proposing it in Idaho is now the mainstream view. We are the marijuana majority. And we've got the will of the people behind us. We're past that tipping point where the little boy has pointed out the emperor's wearing no clothes. Jack Herer was about 20 years ahead of his time. The people now are at that spot where they recognize that marijuana prohibition is based on hatred, racism, and lies, and that there's so much more to benefit from marijuana. The people are starting to realize that we're not talking about alcohol or tobacco. That to bring alcohol and tobacco into the discussion, to say marijuana ought to be banned because alcohol and tobacco are so harmful, is like saying since football and boxing cause head trauma, we ought to ban golf. It makes no sense. It's a non sequitur. Now, there are a couple of arguments that were made by commenters that weren't covered by the New York Times editorial. Daniel of Alabama said, quote, "I reject the federal government's right to decide what I put in my body. Even if it was bad for you, so what? We don't ban skydiving, driving in cars, hunting, professional backyard wrestling, traveling to third world countries, sugary foods and sugary beverages, standing outside during thunderstorms with a metal pole, swimming after eating, caffeine, ibuprofen, alcohol, cigarettes, or prescription drugs, all of which are statistically more likely to harm you." End quote. I want to see the statistics on standing outside during thunderstorms with a metal pole. Are there enough people doing that we have an N large enough to have a statistically accurate sample? But I get the guy's point, right? It's kind of a libertarian point. And it's really the ultimate point, really, on marijuana is who the hell are you to tell me I can't grow this plant and put it in my body? We were founded by a bunch of hemp farmers. Hemp was being used to pay taxes in this country for 200 years, up into the early 1800s. Hemp was being used to pay taxes in this country. How could it not be our natural, creator-given right to be able to farm hemp, to be able to grow the cannabis plant, Hell, to be able to grow any plant, we're founded by farmers. You've got to think they would have thought that growing plants on your own land was your right. How could they not believe that? And if you know about the Constitution, we have this thing called the Ninth Amendment. I call it the we can't write all that shit down amendment. And what it says is that the rights of the people, the enumeration of certain rights in the Constitution shall not be used to deny or disparage others held by the people. I might have gotten that a little off, but pretty close. And what it means is, we couldn't write all your rights down. You got a shit ton of rights that we didn't put in there. The right to have sex with your spouse, the right to have a good dinner, right? There are a lot of rights in there that you've got that we couldn't write them all down. But just because we didn't write them all down doesn't mean you ain't got them.
America's RR7 secret agent of progressive change.
The name's Belville. Russ Belville.
This is the Russ Belville Show.
Goldfinger, he's the man
Oh, yeah. We're going to take ourselves a little break here, get our nanograms upped a little bit. Thanks for joining us here on Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation. We'll be in Washington State next week, starting Wednesday, getting ready for CanaCon and Seattle Hemp Fest. More details when we come back.
420 Radio, fighting prohibition since 2012. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled. National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember ncc420.com. That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio.
Please stop now. Yeah, oh, I know me again, yo. Roll ya, put me wrestler around yo. I'm a low smoke, the highest grade, cause when me smoke, me feel nice. The buds me well want to squeeze yo. Get the THC in yo. I'm a low smoke, the highest grade, that me smoke.
Welcome back, everybody. 49 after the area, that's Yuya.
Nice tune.
Oh, yeah. Like that?
Yes.
Hey, you know, Zane, we were talking earlier about that stupid story about drug testing fifth graders, and you've got quite a different experience than me, because I went to high school 1982 through 1985, and what you described to me is nothing like my high school. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about, the dog?
Well, I graduated in 2011, and when I was in high school, we had a drug dog on campus, all the time. So they'd come to our class, in the middle of class. They'd stop class and they'd have everybody leave their bags inside and walk outside, and then they'd have the dogs go sniff bags and stuff, and people would get caught for sure.
Sure.
But I mean, the dog messed up a bunch too.
Sure.
But
false alerts.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's definitely something that created, like you said, like a mistrust between students and faculty for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's definitely something that, I mean, it makes me kind of question what the future is for schools in terms of enforcing their drug policy in the future, with legalization. I'm curious what they do in Colorado. If they have dogs, or if they've had dogs already. I mean, it's always been a proposal. But I actually went to private and public school in Hawaii, so I kind of got both. I got the whole spectrum,
Sure.
So like my freshman through junior year, I went to high school on the Big Island, and that high school, I mean, is basically the center of the cannabis culture, and it starts at Konoina High School.
Okay.
But it's actually something where kids are, it's kind of generational, so it's definitely a lot more lenient. And then when I went to St. Louis High School on Oahu, and it was a lot more sketchy, to consume cannabis as a young kid. But I definitely feel like that paranoia doesn't do much in terms of steering people away from drugs.
Yeah.
It kind of makes them look for alternatives that won't get them caught, because, I mean, you're not going to mess with ganja if, you've been caught with it before. If you sell weed, say, and then you get caught, you're less likely to mess with selling herb, and you're more likely to start getting involved in selling things like prescription drugs or stuff where it's harder to detect.
What about spice or K2? Is that a big deal?
In Hawaii, spice is definitely something that's, I mean, you don't see people selling spice like a black market spice kids don't sell spice.
Okay.
In high schools, which definitely proves the fact that legalization won't lead to selling ganja in high schools, because there's already a legal synthetic cannabinoid out there, and kids aren't able to get it. Right. And they're not selling it in high schools.
Wow. And, it's a good thing I'm not in high school, because the name Radical Russ actually came about when I was in high school. And part of it was, we would do these weird kind of, I guess today they'd call them flash mobs, but we would do these weird kind of group protests. And one of them, and this is obvious a trivial thing, right? But in our high school back in the day, summertime come around, you couldn't wear shorts. You had to wear jeans. You still had to wear pants, right? And Idaho is kind of a desert area. You get kind of hot.
My high school too. We had to wear pants every day.
Right.
Too.
So we wanted to protest against this because we couldn't understand why the cheerleaders would come to school wearing a skirt that could show all the way up their thigh, or for that matter, any girl could wear a dress showing up to her knee.
Okay.
And that was okay, but men couldn't show their legs, because they're not going to be wearing a dress. They'd be wearing pants, right? So we did this kind of protest and wrote some letters to the school paper about it being a sexism thing against men. Mm-hmm. And in protest, what we did is we all wore these board shorts, right? And then we would wear these long, duster length trench coats that went and oversized ones that went past that went down to where pants would go.
Okay.
Right. So they couldn't do anything because we were, covered up to our legs, right? And then, we'd go out on the breaks or lunch and take off the dusters and be wearing shorts. And they've busted us and suspended us, do all this stuff. So my thought on this would be, if I were in a high school like you described, and they were regularly taking drug dogs and running up and down the bags in schools, the first thing I would have done as a kid is got myself a whole bunch of cannabis salve or oil or bud and rubbed it on all of the bags of the richest Howley kids I could find.
Oh, yeah.
That is exactly what I do. Get those rich little bastards in trouble, and their rich parents coming down and going, what the hell? What's this false alert on my kid's bag? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
There you go.
That would change something for sure.
You know, and similarly, this is an idea that I had, even back in the day in Canyon County, Idaho, the conservative county in Idaho, which is like saying the sauna in hell. But Canyon County, Idaho, we had this sheriff, George Nurse. His big thing that he wanted to do is to have all landlords drug test before they could rent you an apartment.
Wow.
But he also used to like to take his drug dogs and run them up in the parking lots of low rent housing kind of places, those Hive apartment kind of things, or at the local mall, the brown people's mall. That old Chris Rock routine about there's the white people's mall and the mall that used to be the white people's mall, right? It's that old routine. At Karcher Mall in Nampa was kind of like this, where all the Mexicans would go shop, and then the Boise Town Square with all the brand new multi-million, that was all the white people thing. Yeah, there you go.
Like Burlington, if anyone's been in Washington, like the Burlington Mall. Go
there
to
you
the
go.
Burlington Mall.
There you go, right? So he would take the drug dogs up and down the Karcher Mall parking lot, and if the dogs would alert, they wouldn't do anything, but they would note which car it was, license plate, wait for that car to leave, and then pull it over on down the road, right? So again, my thought back then, and I think I wrote a letter to the Nampa paper on this that got published, and soon after it got published, they stopped doing this. They said, some of my friends and I have had this great idea that we should take cannabis buds and rub them on every Cadillac, Lexus, Infiniti, Mercedes, and BMW we find. And a few of them rich white folks get pulled over by the sheriff's office because a drug dog alerted. Might start changing some of these tactics. Suddenly that tactic disappeared.
Yeah. And I mean, the whole smell thing's such a big issue right now, with the news and how, in what was that, in Maryland, how they were basically not able to kind of use that as a probable cause.
Oh, Massachusetts.
Or Massachusetts, sorry. Yeah. So, that's been something that's just caused so much paranoia in my life.
Yeah.
Period. And, in Hawaii, we deal with higher temperatures, so cannabinoids are more, the oil is more likely to melt, and your bag in your pockets literally reeks, even if it's lower grade. So, it's been something that I've been dealing with my whole life, and it's really good to hear that in Massachusetts, they're gonna get a little more lenience on that. And like you said, it's definitely could lead to a lot of blackmailing. So I don't even know what it's worth.
The unintended consequence of marijuana's evolution, right, is okay. So I think natural selection favored marijuana that grew to be stinky,
right?
Because then you could find it, right? Our old hunter-gatherer ancestors, smell like skunk, good weed, right? Go find that and get some in us, right?
Yes.
And then the fact that it's lipophilic, right, that it stays in our bodies so long, is, partially a function because of the fact we have an endocannabinoid system and our body wants to hold on to this substance, right? So this evolution that helped our hunter-gatherer ancestors find it and keep it in their fat and use it in times of distress is now working against us. Because the smell makes it the easiest thing for cops to find, and it's it being in our fat and being so lipophilic makes it so easy to detect on drug tests.
It's about to change.
Damn shame. But you're right. It is about to change. We're changing it in Alaska and Oregon and the District of Columbia this year, and that's pretty damn exciting. Also, Florida voting on medical marijuana. We got California voting on some prison resentencing acts. There's a bunch of cities in Michigan voting on various decrim proposals and more. Colorado will have votes as well. We will be here on election night, Tuesday, November 4th, bringing you live election coverage from coast to coast and all the way up to the Great White North, bringing you the latest updates on marijuana legalization, medical, and decrim. You'll know when it happens right here on 420radio.org. For Big Island Zane, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant